All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about cymatics to start out with, and then we're going to get into a lot of different areas about sound and frequency and how it functions in our world. So we're going to start with a TED Talk on cymatics. Let me know if you can hear it or
A creative technologist, and the focus of my work is on public installations.
are you good? Can you hear it and see it?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
And one of my driving passions is this idea of exploring nature and trying to find hidden data within nature. And it seems to me that there's this latent potential everywhere, all around us. Everything gives out some kind of data, whether it's sound or smell or vibration. And through my work, I've been trying to find ways to harness and unveil this. And so this basically led me to a subject called cymatics. Now, cymatics is the process of visualizing sound by basically vibrating a medium such as sand or water, as you can see there. So if we have a quick look at the history of cymatics, beginning with the observations of resonance by Da Vinci, Galileo, the English scientist Robert Hooke, and then Ernest Chladni. And he created an experiment using a metal plate, covering it with sand, and then bowing it to create the Chladni patterns that you see here on the right. Moving on from this, the next person to explore this field was a gentleman called Hans Jenny in the 1970s, and he actually coined the term cymatics. And then bringing us into the present day is a fellow collaborator of mine and cymatics expert, John Stuart Reid, and he's kindly recreated for us the Chladni experiment. What we can see here is a metal sheet, this time connected to a sound driver and being fed by a frequency generator. And as the frequencies increase, so do the complexities of the patterns that appear on the plate, as you can see for your own eyes. So, what excites me about cymatics? Well, for me, cymatics is an almost magical tool. It's like a looking glass into a hidden world, and through the numerous ways that we can apply cymatics, we can actually start to unveil the substance of things not seen. Devices like the cymoscope that you can see here are being used to scientifically observe cymatic patterns, and the list of scientific applications is growing every day. For example, in oceanography, a lexicon of dolphin language is actually being created by basically visualizing the sonar beams that the dolphins emit, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to gain some deeper understanding of how they communicate. We can also use cymatics for healing and education. This is an installation developed with school children where their hands are tracked, and it allows them to control and position cymatic patterns and the reflections that are caused by them. We can also use cymatics as a beautiful natural art form. This image here is created from a snippet of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony playing through a cymatic device. So it kind of flips things on its head a little bit. And this is Pink Floyd's Machine playing in real time through the cymoscope. We can also use cymatics as a looking glass into nature, and we can actually recreate the archetypal forms of nature. So for example, here on the left we can see a snowflake as it would appear in nature, and then on the right we can see a cymatically created snowflake. And here's a starfish and a cymatic starfish, and there's thousands of these. So what does this all mean? Well, there's still a lot to explore, and it's early days, and there's not many people working in this field. But consider for a moment that sound does have form, and we've seen that it can affect matter and cause form within matter. Then sort of take a leap and think about the universe forming, and think about the immense sound of the universe forming. And if we kind of ponder on that, then perhaps cymatics had an influence on the formation of the universe itself. And here's some eye candy for you from a range of DIY scientists and artists from all over the globe. And cymatics is accessible to everybody, and I want to urge everybody here to apply your passion, your knowledge, and your skills to areas like cymatics. And I think collectively we can build a global community, we can inspire each other, and we can evolve this exploration of the substance of things not seen. Thank you.
Oh no. I just totally hit the wrong button, of course. Oh my gosh, I just lost my slideshow, you guys. Pause recording.
There we go.
Okay, so you may have noticed that those tones weren't terribly pleasant to listen to, right? On the cymatic waves, and it's because they've eliminated all of the overtones. And the overtones are, I don't know if you know this, but like when you press the C key on a piano, your ear hears C, but what you're actually hearing is everything in the harmonic arpeggio series above it and below it. So you're hearing C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G as high as it goes, and everything below that in the harmonic arpeggio. But your brain kind of just tunes in on that one sound. But really, you're hearing so many more notes. And when you hear these sine waves, it is one isolated tone, and it's not usually very enjoyable to the human ear. But here's something really similar. It's just a YouTube short. When you play sound through water, and it's got a little water lens and a camera.
This is what a photo shoot looks like behind the scenes. So water is vibrating to a low frequency sound wave sitting on top of a modified speaker. And the color is from colored lights that shine down over the water's surface. So I hope this gives a little bit more context, and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, that was a really quickie. And one more little quickie. So cool. So, like, what are sine waves really? I mean, they are just the they're a 2D shadow of like something that actually exists in the third in three dimensions and more. So it's like as if you're looking at a crystal and there's the shadow of it and you can see the shape of it, but you don't actually see the living crystal. So if we start to think of sine waves as actually three-dimensional and beyond existences, and we're just catching this kind of slice of it, this sideways slice. And there were videos I've seen, but I couldn't find them again of somebody doing it with, they're playing sound in a box with the styrofoam balls, and the styrofoam balls are forming the shapes in 3D. And it's just so fascinating. Okay, so when we work with frequencies within our bodies, all the frequencies are already present. So I've been working with my own body on healing, and one of the things I have to do is understand like where I'm tangled up and things I want to kind of smooth out, and I don't want to feel angry about this thing anymore. So I figure out what is causing that anger. And instead of it being an intellectual decision, it's a felt thing. And then I kind of imagine that frequency within my body smoothing out. And we have to remember that we're not like importing these frequencies. We are original source code. Like we are everything inside of us. And so when we're kind of when we came down here and we incarnated, we chose what challenges we wanted to have. And it's imagine if you took like the inside strings of a piano or a harp and you were like, I want to have relationship problems. So you kind of like tangled up these strings over here and but I want them to do really well with athletics. So you straighten out those strings over there or just things like that. So certain things become discordant, kind of out of tune, and certain things are in flow. And then as you go through your life, the mission, at least my mission, is to bring everything back into good intonation, back into tuning, back into smoothness. And so you can think of it as not importing anything new, but instead like keeping what serves, bringing it out as if like that note becomes louder in your life and retuning things that no longer feel good to you or just aren't serving you anymore. So, like tuning an orchestra, all the instruments are already there, but some are flat or sharp or out of rhythm. And frequency work is not about replacing them, but about bringing them back into harmony. And everything on this planet understands frequency. We think of it as music, but it's really just frequency. Like every time I played piano, my dog came into the room. Every time I played violin, my dog left. She did not like those frequencies.
In New Orleans, they call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. My mother was a teller. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans.
So sweet. Auntie Vaughn, I know that you saw it with horses and other animals, but I was pretty excited to find a rhinoceros. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah, I went ahead and followed him.
Oh,
So
okay.
I get all the new ones that he does with all the different animals, and it's just amazing to see how they react. The birds will dance when when he's playing. I think it was lemurs actually came onto his body. Other animals try to lick the guitar, but he even had a fish, and one of them, he was playing for monkeys or something across the river, and a fish came up out of the water and stared at him and was listening to him play. It's amazing.
Wow. And I think those occurrences are going to happen more and more frequently because I can feel the vibration of the earth just raising. I can feel the resonance increasing. You see more and more videos of animals of different species playing together instead of hunting each other.
Yeah,
I think the resonance of everything is going up, and this awareness of frequency and how we use it is getting more and more relevant to our everyday life.
yep,
So, the cells in our body are vibrational, of course, and our nervous systems are exquisitely tuned to rhythm and resonance. This is why music can instantly change mood. And I think we've all probably used music to change our mood before, either to wallow in it or to lift ourselves out of it. I usually wallow, then I'll play something that lifts me out of it. Rhythm speaks to the body, melody speaks to the heart, and harmony speaks to the mind. So, we feel the rhythms in our body. When we have melodies, our heart lights up. And when there's harmonies, like when you listen to whole symphonies or bands play, to me, that's when it all really comes together. So there's certain frequencies that really restore coherence. And coherence is in the physical world, to me, coherence are like two sound waves moving together without bumping into each other. Like like creating dissonance. So if you were to hear a siren go by or a fire alarm, those are sounds that are meant to bang into each other. Like it sounds dissonant to us. It makes us cringe and want to leave the room or get our car out of the way. And it's actually caused by sound waves smashing into each other. It's very physical. So coherence is like when sound waves move together in harmony without bumping into each other. And there's certain things we can do, like when we hum, it stimulates the vagus nerve, which is that really big nerve that travels along the spine and is kind of responsible for everything and how we feel. And that will calm the body. And then you hear a lot of singing together in choirs or monks that are chanting together. That creates a whole resonance field that aligns nervous systems. So we are actually going to do a little activity together, and we're going to do a little bit of humming, about 30 seconds of humming. Let me turn on my little phone timer here. And I'm going to put on a little background, and I chose this one because it doesn't have a lot of pitch to it like other relaxing music does.
okay, then we need to all open our audio, right? We need to put our mics on.
Well, yeah, if you want to hum together, yeah, I would say
Yeah, so everybody open your mics. Cludston, you're still muted. Wanda, you're still muted.
we need to hear your hums, my friends.
Yeah, if we're going to do this together, everybody needs to unmute.
So
Great.
as you hum, I've got my little timer set for 30 seconds. As you hum, you can pick a note that kind of fits with the music, and I'll throw out like three different pitches for you to pick depending on your vocal range, but you can do anything that really fits for you. But as you do it, I want you to have some intention with it. So think of your personal body frequencies. Imagine yourself as 1,000 or 1 billion strands. We're probably like a gazillion strands. But imagine your frequency strands kind of weaving and tuning and harmonizing yourself as if you were a big knot, and then you're just sort of like something underwater, like kelp, like you're just beginning to unwind. So here we go. I'll start the music. I'll give you some pitches to choose your hum, and then I'll start the 30 seconds. You could do this note or this note or this note or this note. There you go. Start your humming. Best to choose one note and stick to it and just imagine your field unwinding, uncoiling. That was our 30 seconds. That went so
I
fast.
know, right?
Really?
Oh,
That's
thumbs
cool.
up. Yeah. By the way, this is from a site called Retro Causal Memories, and I love their videos. It'll go on like this for 2 hours, some go on for 10 hours. They're very groovy scenes and they're very relaxing. And rather than music, they play kind of like an ambient sound. And I find that it makes really good, when I just need something still in the background.
hmm
It's a really good thing. So, did anybody feel anything through their hum? We can do it again if you want a little bit longer.
Let's do it again.
Okay, here we
We're
go.
only supposed to hum one note, right?
Yeah, just one note. Stay on one note
Okay.
because you really want to build resonance in your body. And one of the best ways to do it is to open your jaw so your teeth are not touching, but you keep your lips together. It might be a little
Mm,
bit itchy. And then see if you can get your sinus cavity in your head to buzz. Kind of buzzy.
yeah.
So big space between the teeth, but the lips touch. Here you go. Here's 30 seconds. And now just take a moment in silence, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Does anybody feel a little stiller or calmer, or what do you feel?
For
I
me,
felt a
I
little
feel
tingling in
calmer.
my right nostril.
Mm.
I got it in my throat chakra. I think I have to go higher for the to feel it in my head. We used to do similar exercises when I was in Eureka Institute, uh, and the tone you would use would determine which chakra you were vibrating, right? And to get to the one crown chakra was a higher pitch than what I just did.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had all that info, but I didn't put it into the slideshow because I didn't want it to get too long. But I have all the different chakras and what they resonate at and what the syllable is for them if anybody wants to know later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, just doing deep breathing and being silent lowers your blood pressure.
Yes.
hmm
But I never did it with the humming. Gotta try it with the humming.
Yeah, I've even found that if I have a particularly sore like spot on my body, like I was weeding and I got a hold of a walnut tree. And if you've ever tried to pull out a young walnut, it puts up a fight. It sends a taproot straight down, but I strained my elbow.
Hmm.
And for the longest time, I couldn't get the ache out of it, like months. And then I started asking it, what does it need a humming and what sound does it need? And it told me it was like ee, and I had to like hum it right into that sore muscle, and lo and behold, it actually went away. It was wild.
Mm.
So I sent it like right into the tissue, and we're gonna talk about that just a little bit later. But anything humming especially calms the vagus nerve as well as the breathing after, and anything that calms the vagus nerve is gonna lower your cortisol, lower your blood pressure. Such a good thing to do, and so many ancient cultures always did it. It's just kind of in our modern society that we don't anymore. So I'm going to talk to you now about
I got one
sine
question.
waves. What's that?
I got a question.
Yeah.
When you're doing oming, is the oming like a humming?
Yes,
Mm,
Om is like a hum, and the idea of Om is that it is the original sound that put frequency into form. It
Mm.
was like the original sound that kind of locked frequency into matter. And though it's not just Om as we've kind of shortened it, it's actually like yeah.
Right.
It's a lot more sounds, and now we just kind of use Om. But yeah, for sure, it is a form of humming. And it clears stagnation out of your body and it just kind of lights up all of your cells and just lets light in. Okay, so I'm going to move now into a little bit of sound frequency as it was used in the building of ancient temples, because now we're going back to kind of before we lost all the information that we used to have compared to the way we lived in the time of Atlantis and the way we live now. So this is, I think this is a Praveen Mohan. If you don't know Praveen Mohan, Cledston, do you know Praveen Mohan?
I do not.
Ah, well, if you don't, you might want to. He's kind of up your alley, but a little bit
Okay.
more with the ancient monument stuff. But here
Okay.
we go with some Praveen Mohan.
Hey guys, I'm
Oh,
at
yes,
the
I know.
Vitala Temple in Hampi, and
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the mystery of the musical pillars. This structure, called the musical hall, is now closed for renovation. However, I managed to get the actual sounds from these pillars. Here's a pillar which shows a man playing ancient drums. Now, if you tap this, you will hear the sound of these drums. Now, here's the sound of a temple bell. And here is a sound similar to a school bell.
Wow.
Now, you can combine these various sounds to create even modern sounds.
Now, as you're watching the video, notice some of the carvings that you're seeing around the temple, especially the representation of cymatic walls or cymatic shapes are all over the building. They're all over the temple. Like at the very top, you see a cymatic shape.
For example, this is the combination of the temple bell and the school bell to create the modern day doorbell. How do these different pillars create various sounds? But this is nothing when you take this pillar that's made of one stone and has small columns carved onto it. If you tap on each of these small columns, they create the 7 notes of the musical scale in Indian classical music, which is similar to do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti in Western world. This is what it sounds like. What kind of stone technology existed in ancient India that could mimic the sounds of musical instruments? We can see many different sounds of advanced instruments like jaltarang, which uses water waves. Guttam, which uses terracotta pots. And even sounds of string instruments are created on these pillars. How do these pillars, made of the same material, which is granite, create these various sounds? Is it possible that the ancient builders somehow created holes?
So I'll stop him there. What's so fascinating about those pillars that you are hearing is that they are carved out of the exact same element. So in the 1950s, I think, or the 1940s, England, I think, went in and cut one of the pillars out to look at it and to try to figure out, is it hollow? Is it a different shape? Because that's the only way that in modern technology you would be able to create striking something and have it produce a different pitch. You would change the inside, you'd change the length, you would somehow have to alter it from one pillar to the next. So what they discovered is that that pillar was solid all the way through, just like every other pillar. And they can't figure out, even to this day, how the different pitches are produced. But I think I know that, and we're going to address that in just a second. So, did you notice all of the cymatic shapes that were around the temple? They were everywhere. And this particular temple is designed mostly for sound, but there's so much more to it. So in the time, they actually created these carvings out of sound vibrations themselves. So it was resonance in stone. And I learned that sacred sites carry geometric motifs like lotus, the stars, the mandalas, interlocking circles. We're going to see some of those in a little bit. They are not ornamental. They are frequency anchors, embedding sound harmonics into stone so the space becomes a living instrument. So all of these temple halls, they were built as actual resonators, built to echo or amplify chants. Walls decorated with cymatic geometry are field stabilizers, not decoration. Chanting inside them activates the walls and fills the space with standing waves that wash through the body. And we kind of experience that if you go to a great big huge church and they've got that huge pipe organ playing and it all of those vibrations just go through your body. And that's what this was meant to do. It was actually meant to travel through your body, to do what we were just doing through humming, to use these sound waves to maybe clear out sound waves and dissonances that you went into the temple for. So they actually experienced this, and they all of their temples were built to resonate sound. They weren't built as architecture or just to look at or as ornamentation. They weren't built as places to worship. They were built as places to resonate. And so and I'll tell you a little bit on how they actually made them in just a second. But we know the oldest instrument ever found on Earth so far was actually a flute made out of a piece of bone. So sound is stoneworking technology. I think this is absolutely fascinating. And I think it's the basis of our entire world. And we've talked about that a little bit here together, that, this table looks so solid to us, but really it's just kind of frequency that's frozen. And I think sometimes it's called frozen in a toroid shape. It slows down so much that it looks solid. So ancient builders saw stone as frozen vibration. If everything is vibration, then solid rock is simply vibration slowed into stillness. That means it could be re-softened by the right harmonic key. And everything in this world has its natural resonance. If you have a coffee cup nearby and you hit your coffee cup, you'll notice that it has a little sound to it, a little chime. The table, if you knock on it, everything produces its own natural resonance. So what they did was they matched the resonance. So they used in-tone chants, tuned instruments, and sometimes resonant chambers to focus vibration into stone. So when they matched the resonant frequency of the rock, its molecular bonds would loosen, like softening into clay through sympathetic vibration to allow carving, shaping, or even joining stones without mortar. So they were actually able to manipulate matter in a way that we have just lost, but I think that it is coming back. So megalithic sites that show stones in interlocking ways was done by resonance softening, followed by recompression. They could tune two stones' coherence so that they both vibrated together, bring them into contact so that their lattices recognized each other, and fused into a seamless bond. And you're going to see some examples of chains that are made out of two different kinds of stone that are fully linked together. And there's no way we could do that now. And also behind a lot of those statues in the Indian temples, you can reach right behind, you can reach up into the stone. I mean, there's no tools we have today that could be capable of that level of exquisite carving. So this really, really fine carving came from a combination of softening the stone and using vibrational cutting tools, which were made out of rods or crystals tuned to emit focused frequencies. Statues were carved in a softened state and allowed to reharden into crystalline solidity. It was only done in sacred spaces because building with sound infused the stones themselves with memory of vibration, so that when you chant inside those temples, they sing back and that whole space comes alive. So here is some really cool, these are just YouTube shorts of, I turned off the volume, but this is a bracelet that spins, carved out of one piece of rock. So how do you make a bracelet that spins? Or sometimes there's sandstone mixed in with granite. Just incredible detail. Here, this is a chain hanging out of the top of a temple, and that chain is made of interlocking kinds of stone. And that tailpiece, the bottom piece, is a different stone than the stone that it's hanging off. They're all different kinds of stone, and yet they're interlinked. And that's just technology that we don't have anymore. but hopefully we'll get back. And then
Statues. Look at this horseman here. You can see this little bump on his knee right next to the kneecap. Now, look at this bump on a real human leg. I don't want to complicate this by going into the anatomical name of this bump, but these are fascinating details. And look at the muscles of his thighs. See how it is curving down because of gravity. And they not only paid attention to human anatomy, look at this horse. Notice its teeth? You may think this looks more like human teeth. It looks exaggerated, right? No, horses have teeth that look perfect, quite similar to the teeth of humans. And look at the back of the jaw. There is not much teeth here. Again, look at the statue and look at how the sculptor was paying attention to the anatomy of the horse, carving the inside of its mouth. But it gets better. Look at how this man is holding a long spear ready to attack someone. Look at his chest muscles, his pectoral muscles. See how well defined they are. And below that, look at his rib bone. These bones come out when you're inhaling. Your rib cage becomes prominent when you breathe in. And why is he holding his breath? Because he's lifting this huge spear. Next time, when you lift something heavy, notice what happens. You will hold your breath and your rib bones will come out. But look at the back of his hand. See these 4 lines? They look familiar, don't they? Now, you just turned your hand and looked at the back of your hand, didn't you? You may think these are nerves or veins, but these are tendons that join muscles to bones. Each tendon is going up 1 finger, and you can see how they're flaring up. They're only coming out because he's lifting a heavy spear and he's holding it in this position. But look, in the same carving, let me show you the other hand. Where are the tendons? They're not visible because he's merely holding the reins with this hand. So there's no tension. That's why the tendons are not flaring up. Today,
oops.
Statues.
Oh, I think I just went to YouTube. Okay, so that's just to show you how exquisitely carved a lot of these monuments are in Malaysia and in Turkey and in India, and how that, from what I understand, that they were kind of like taking something that existed in a vibratory state, and then they were able to allow it to harden and crystalline and then become what we see today as a statue. They weren't actually carved out of already hard stone. So it's kind of a really different from the way we think of it now. So we are going to think of ourselves as the body as a resonant chamber. So now healing yourself with sound. What can we do? How can we use sound? It's not just that we need to go to a temple and have some great healer heal us. We all carry that capability of using sound to heal ourselves. And the more we understand it, the more efficiently we can use it. So there's different parts of our body, like Auntie Vaughn was just saying about the different chakras have different pitches and different syllables that kind of tune in. And if you hum in your chest, you can soothe anxiety. So let's just take a second and do like a low hum that kind of lands in the chest area. Whatever note that is for you, it'll be different for all of us. Mm. Mm. And oh, that does calm me. That calmed me down. And then if you're feeling kind of foggy morning, you can do a really high skull or a sinus hum that, and sometimes in yoga it's called the Brahmari. And we actually cover our ears and we hum like a bee. Really high in your sinuses, and that'll like wake you up or clear mental fog. And then see if you can hum into your low belly. That's a trickier one, but it can really help you ground and feel vital again and refill with energy. So try to hum with the intention of it being in your low belly. Oh, I'll have to try that one for my sciatica. So even a single tone or a hum can heal if it is infused with a clear focus. So if you send the intent to ease my hips, but you have to hum or even just focus energy or air on your hips easing, or on releasing grief, or welcoming joy, or replenishing energy. That's what I'm always working on as an elementary teacher. Replenish my energy. So if you just hum or sing or just sit in silence and breathe with clear intention, it will really help focus that sound in. And even if you don't know what the right one is to hum, I imagine that the longer you do it, your body will kind of just adjust as it's needed to the tone that you most need to hum. And sound dissolves stagnation, like movement, or if you have limited mobility, you can always hum to get everything just loosened up in your body, as long as you're singing directly into your tissues. So here's a little balancing the root chakra sound. So this recording I chose this recording because he has a lot of overtones. It's the thing I was saying before. Instead of a single clear sound wave, which I'm going to play you in just a second, a sine wave, this has beautiful overtones. Then I'm going to play you a sine wave that kind of cuts. It's just one sound without the overtones. And then I'll bring you back to cello drones, which are actually really nice to hum to. So here is something with just lots of beautiful overtones. Oh, I don't ever want to pause that. So I don't know if you guys know about drone flutes, but it's kind of like two flutes side by side, and one always plays an open note, like an open D or an E or a C, and they're tuned when you buy them. And then the other one has the different holes on it that you can change pitch. So it's playing different notes, but always with that drone running underneath it. And if he blows into both mouthpieces. And I did buy an Indian flute that I love, or a Native American flute, but it's not a drone flute, and I wish that I had. But I would probably never leave the house if I owned my own drone flute. I would just stay home and drone all day. So here is a note that we use for tuning in orchestra class a lot, and it has no overtones, and it's really awful.
A.
And I imagine you can hear the difference of what that feels like in your body versus something with overtones. And then this is a much better way to tune your instrument, or this is really nice to just hum along with. These are cello drones. So a man actually recorded these by playing a live real cello and recording all of the notes that ring with the cello. And I don't know if you guys know this, but when somebody plucks a string in orchestra, everybody's instrument vibrates. Everybody that has a C string or anything in the C harmonic series, C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G, your instrument will also ring. So these are cello drones. They come, he's got them in all different keys in C, G, D, and A. So those, I can't even hear those without humming. I hum to the vacuum cleaner. I hum to my dishwasher. Anytime anything creates pitch, I will start humming.
That one sounded like the ohm to me.
Yeah, you know they say that the cello is the closest to the human voice.
Mm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That could be
Just,
why.
uh,
Yeah.
my whole body was vibrating when
Oh, I
listening
love the
to
cello
that one.
drone. So
Yeah.
that, and also I bought a harmonium, and a harmonium, I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're like little tiny organs, and the when they went over to India, the who went over to try to bring religion to India? What do you call them? Pilgrims? Puritans, somebody
Mm.
went over there trying to bring them Christianity, and they were trying to they couldn't bring an organ. So they made a little one, and it has little bellows on it, like at the bagpipes, it like inflates this little bellows, and it's a keyboard. So you pump the bellows, and then the it forces air out, and it vibrates these little brass plates inside, and it's like a little portable organ. But they're so fun to chant to. They're absolutely beautiful, and they sound a lot like the cello drones. So that is all I prepared for sound for you all. And I would love to hear what your questions are or your comments. I'm going to stop my screen share.
Well, I thought this was just fascinating, Tara, really. And there's so much to learn, and I'm sure I'm going to listen to this
Hmm.
two or three or who knows how many times.
Me too.
But this last part did make me think about how the music, and I've talked to you just very briefly about the Native American music that I like so much. And so much of that, as I discover more and more and more of it, is what did you call the flute that has two parts to it?
Drone flute.
Drone flutes,
And
a
they're
lot
also
of it.
like they're in a lower tuning. Like the modern instruments are tuned to A440. These are tuned down to like 432. And so it's more closer to the actual natural resonance of the human body. So they're very, very soothing. And they have that drone and they
Yeah,
get all those overtones. And
I
that
just love them. I
moves
love
through you.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally adjusts your frequencies. It brings your frequencies back into coherence.
And I'm
Well,
also,
I have to tell you, my little dog enjoyed it. He was running all over the house, making me feed him and stuff like that.
Aw.
got them active.
But if you want to know which group went to the China, it was Marco Polo. It's the Italians,
Ah. Okay. They
Okay.
brought
and
the
that's
harmonium to India. It was the ones that went to India.
well, I don't know about India, but I would suspect they went there too,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
China isn't. They took that's where we got all our beautiful porcelains and stuff because they brought it here. I mean to
Yes.
Italy, and they start replicating a lot of them.
Hmm.
I think also you've probably heard two cellos, right? The group, well,
Yeah, two
not a group.
cellos. Yes, the piano guys, two cellos. We play their stuff. The students are so fascinated by them. They're so fun.
Yeah, I love the two cellos and I listen to them a lot as well as the native well, not necessarily Native American, but indigenous from all different countries, the indigenous natives. And they all play those drum flutes, all of them, it's just fascinating that you can find that in Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, America, all over the place. And they're all playing those.
Yeah.
And I just love listening to them. The other thing I want to know is what hum can I use to heal this eye so I don't have to get the shots?
Yeah, to heal your eyes, I would say if you were just to send, I would say trust your body to know what note it needs for that healing, and just doing humming and really sending intention into that eye area, into the flesh of the eye. And I can tell you, I hope I can. I think that the different pitches it gave me were more chakra oriented. Let
Yeah.
me see.
Well, I don't know what chakra connects to the eye.
That's a good
That
question.
would be the two notes above our scale, which we don't have.
Two notes above our
Yeah.
scale.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I.
I need to get a bird.
Is it your left or your right eye?
Right.
I enjoyed the experiment they had at Stony Brook University up on Long Island, where they did with plants. They had different plants that played different tones and different, uh, what do you call them? The glass houses, the greenhouses.
Yeah.
I
And
actually wrote
it
that
did
down,
differently
Peter.
according to the tones.
Hmm.
I
Did
wrote
they
So
that down.
respond to
they
them,
played different
Peter?
notes in different greenhouses and they were saw how the
Or
plants
different
responded to
different
it.
music,
Hmm.
Okay, different
uh,
music.
like uh, say real rock music or rock,
Yeah.
the
I think
classical resonant, or
Yeah.
that book, The Secret Life of Plants, talks a lot about that, how
Uh,
classical music, they grew beautifully, right? Rock and roll, not
right,
so
like
much, you
If you
know.
think about it, it's the way the frequencies travel, right? Rock
Mhm.
and roll, and I love all kinds of music, but at this point in my life, because I'm so attuned to resonance as an orchestra teacher, that when I hear rock and roll, all I hear is crash cymbal.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I can't hear anything else happening in the music. I'm like, somebody mute that crash cymbal. Let me enjoy the music. But it because it just it creates a dissonant sound wave
Mhm.
over
Mhm.
everything. And but it makes sense as you listen. But then some people need that music. Like my students
Yeah.
when I taught high school, the music that they would listen to, I would ask them, like, what's your favorite song? Send it to me. And some of them would pick things with like a double bass pedal, which is like and I almost had a heart attack just listening to it. And I realized that for a 14-year-old boy, that's what their heartbeat feels like. It's like,
Mhm.
get out of this chair, let me go outside. I need to punch something, I need to throw something. And here we are, we're like, calm down. And the girls would like pick such mellower things and like, I really like the sound of this. And it's just so reflective of what's in your body at the time. So thank
Mhm.
goodness we have
Mhm.
thrash metal because I think it actually cuts down on crime. Gives them a way to
yeah.
get it out of their body compared to, and for us, thank God there's like Enya because it gives me something
Mhm.
to space out to. But I am so fascinated. To me, the most exciting part about all this is realizing that this universe really is frequency and
Mhm.
everything is just, and that the slowing down of frequency is that what makes it feel solid. I just think that's so fascinating. And our bodies are that exact same way. It opens so many possibilities.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated at the way they built the temples, out of one piece of rock. And I'm
Yeah,
sure it has something to do with vibration or resonance, or for them to be able to create something like that. And I
yeah,
don't think people were there
no.
chiseling stuff out, you know what I
And
mean? I think it
yeah,
somehow it morphed from music into what it is or something like that.
yes. And there's all those temples that they dug out. They didn't even
Yeah,
like build them up. They dug them out. And where
right.
did that rock
Out of a
go?
big piece of rock.
My
Yeah,
understanding, it that just dissipated into the atmosphere. Like they literally just like they dissolved it. They
right.
basically like loosened everything up and then dissolved out of this reality, whatever didn't serve them
Hmm.
for creating that temple. And the
Hmm.
one that has all the elephants on it in India, so many
Hmm.
warring people have come through and tried to destroy those elephants, and they
Right,
gave up because
right,
they couldn't get they knocked some of the trunks off, but they actually
right,
couldn't destroy the temple. It
right.
was so resilient and so heavy. And the other thing I learned is that these places where the temples are built were actually, it was like the vibration already existed in that spot from
Hmm.
another time of humans on
Hmm.
Earth. And that these are all representations of what used to be there, what existed. Even if it wasn't a physical building, there was already that resonance of healing there or that resonance
Hmm.
of sound. And they,
Coordination points.
yeah,
What stuff's
yeah,
called coordination points.
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they
And
found those temples in Turkey that were their chambers that are perfectly attuned to resonate at a certain pitch. And I think that they were healing chambers. Even in some of the Egyptian tombs that they've uncovered or Egyptian monuments, they're just like a bed. They're like a flat stone platform
Hmm.
inside a huge chamber. And those there was like two chambers and they resonated at totally different pitches. They just realized that like one chamber resonated at this pitch and this other chamber resonated at this pitch and that those were healing centers through vibration and frequency.
Hmm.
well, Seth used to say that the coordination points are all over the place. And so if you wanted to, you could find which ones were in your home.
Mm.
So it would be interesting to choose a pitch, start humming, and walk around your apartment and
Hmm.
see where it hits you and say, oh, that's one of my coordination points. And so you would do, like, say, your meditations, in that spot, in the spot where you found a coordination point in your home.
Hmm.
I think I'm going to try that.
That's really cool. I know from The Intention Experiment, if you've never read that, that's a really cool, very small book. And
Hmm.
that's by Lynn Taggart. And she leads all these intention groups today. But the intention experiment was they discovered that they were just trying to test the power of intention. And there were a lot of different ways they were doing it. But they basically showed beyond the beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is a frequency. Intention is a frequency that
Mhm.
travels through the world. And one of the things they discovered is that they had to keep moving the experiments because the room that they were testing in started to become like in flow with what the test was, and it started to give them inflated results. Like that the
Hmm.
room itself became so good at transmitting intention that in order to be accurate, they had to move it to a different room.
Right. That makes
So it's
sense.
just
Well,
like
it's
I always
amazing
meditate
how
right here
some
on
of
my
these
couch. Yeah. So
it's amazing that all of these temples and stuff are still around thousands
Hmm.
of years later.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And they say
And
like
they're in use. Like, look at all the Roman aqueducts and the Roman roads. They're still being used to this day.
yes, it's true. And they say they don't make them like they used to.
Right.
No, they don't.
For
They
sure.
don't.
Yeah. Built out of solid stone. We don't build anything out of solid stone
Hmm.
anymore except banks and government buildings. They'll be the only thing standing. If they rediscover our culture, they'll be like, well, they had government building and banks and nothing else. I don't know where the people lived.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pause the recording for now. Let's save that one.